Today, I'm going to do something a little different. I am going to share a smartphone challenge that I signed up for, and I think it's pretty great. And I thought, well, I should share this on my podcast. I don't often share things like this, but I think I need to do more of this because when I find something that I like to share it. And I do that in my newsletter. I share my favorite things every month. And so, why not do it on my podcast too? I need a little section at the end where I give you something that I've bought or something that I've read or something that I've watched. And so this is a little challenge, an email challenge that I did. And I thought it perked my interest. And so I thought, well, let me try it. And it doesn't take long. And it's great because I think we have this phone in our hand that is like a computer. I mean, we lived in the day when you had to go to the library and open a card catalog to go find a book down a hall. And if we wanted to research stuff, that's the way we had to do it. Or we had a set of encyclopedias, but it was so limited. Now we have these computers, we have these laptops, we have these notebooks, and our phones are absolutely incredible. And we have no idea what they can do. We don't realize the power. And there's so many apps that are so helpful. And so I am going to just give you a quick summary in this episode of what the 7 days are, what the topics are, and I'll give you the link to go and do it. And it might help you. Even just one of the days might give you some good tip that, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Uh, so you might notice my voice is still a little scratchy. I'm on day 13 of the flu. I will say it's been probably the sickest I've ever been in my entire life. I did go on camera today because I did take a shower yesterday and I yesterday was the first day that I actually woke up feeling noticeably better than the day before. It was just so many days of either getting up and feeling either worse the first week or the same or 1% better. And 1% better is like not really better. So I the whole week before I was out sick, this past week was probably more of a struggle because I worked and fortunately I work remotely. And so it's manageable. I don't have to go into an office. I don't have to worry about commuting. I don't have to worry about getting dressed. In fact, every meeting that I attended, I was off camera. So, one of the things though that I forgot to tell you last week because last week's episode, and if you didn't listen to it, you should go listen to it, was my about my shitty week. My shitty week. And I shared three things that happened to me, one of which is getting the flu. And then how I switched my mindset to because I was feeling like, oh my God, what's the next thing that's going to happen? So like rain cloud over me. But I switched it up in this moment of awareness. So I talk about that in my last episode, but I forgot one of the shitty things that also happened last week. But it actually happened twice. And it happened the first time the day before I officially said my shitty week started. So I guess my shitty week started a day before because this thing happened. But it can happen to anyone. It's happened to me before, but I actually got scammed. I've never really been fooled and scammed. My credit card has gotten hacked before. So the first incident was my credit card getting hacked. The second incident was me actually getting scammed. And I fell for it. And thank God it didn't work. The first time it happened, it was on my way home from the business trip on the train. I got a text from my bank, which I often will, I'll get a text. Is this a valid, payment? And usually it is. It's usually I'm in another state and I'm traveling and I forgot to notify my bank. And so I say yes. But this one was a transaction at Walmart, never shop at Walmart. I don't have anything against Walmart, but I just don't typically shop there. And the second was a Zelle transfer of $3,000. Never used Zelle. So that was no, I did not do that. So I said no. And then I got a text back that the bank would contact me, a representative would contact me. So they contacted me and they said, we've canceled your card. We're shipping a new one. It's on its way. So that was that. So fast forward, then I got the flu. The fifth day of the flu, I get another text from my bank and it said, "Did you do this 300 and some dollar transaction at Walmart?" And I said, "No." And they said, "A representative will call you shortly." And so I was like, "Okay." They called me and they asked me for the last 6 digits of my credit card. And I was thinking, "Oh my God, it happened to me 8 days ago. This is my other card. It's another card. It was my debit card." So this debit card was actually attached to another account, Merrill Lynch, but Merrill Lynch bought Bank of America. So I actually have 2 banks. I have Bank of America and Merrill Lynch. But my savings account is with Merrill Lynch. So the reason I'm telling you this detail is because this is why the scam didn't work. Because this person, and I didn't realize this till later, but I gave him my 6 digits and then he said, "Okay, the card's canceled. We're sending you the new card." And then he said, "Do you want to sign for it? And you have a choice." And I said, "Yeah, I want to sign for it." And he said, "It'll be there in 48 hours or whatever." So I hung up, thought nothing of it. So that 3-day weekend came, still sick. So Tuesday, I had gotten neither of my new cards. And I thought, well, for sure, the guy that I talked to first didn't say it was going to be 2 days. He didn't say I needed to sign for it. Maybe it's just going to take longer. It was a holiday weekend. The other person, he said it would be there and was going to FedEx or whatever, the fast shipment. So I should have gotten it by Tuesday because I had talked to him on Friday. I should have probably gotten it on a Saturday. So, anyways, I started to get worried. I said, I need to call the bank. I need to call the bank and check on this. So I called Bank of America. That's the bank that texted me both times. And I just wanted to verify. I said, "I'm worried. I was supposed to get these cards. I haven't gotten any of the cards." And he said, "The one card, the first time the guy called me, that's been canceled. The second time he called me, he said, 'We can't find this card. It's not here.'" And so, of course, my stomach went into flips and I was like, "Oh my God." But then I realized, oh, it's attached to my Merrill Lynch account. So I thought Bank of America would have a record of it because, when I go to my Merrill Lynch account, I can see my Bank of America stuff. When I go to Bank of America, I see Merrill Lynch stuff. But anyways, so I said, "Okay, let me call Merrill Lynch." So I called Merrill Lynch and they said, "Your card's still active. There's been no transactions on my account for that Walmart transaction." The interesting thing also was the first 2 transactions that they called me about, those were on my Bank of America card and they were canceled when they contacted me and verified it wasn't valid. The other Walmart, the second call, wasn't on any of my accounts. So I'm like, "Okay, that didn't happen." And then the guy said, "It's still active. We don't think there's been any security breach on your account. It looks fine, but to be safe, we should cancel your debit card and reissue a new debit card." And I said, "Sure. Okay, let's do that." And then he told me that they never require signature. So the fact that the second guy gave me a choice to sign for the card, he said that means it was a scam because we would never do that. And I said, interesting." So I didn't know that. And then what I realized, because I decided to go into my bank accounts, change my passwords, for the online banking. And I didn't realize this, is I didn't have 2-factor authentication set up. I have it set up on my Facebook account. I have it set up on my Gmail account. But that's what you need to do is you need to set up 2-factor authentication. So I set it up on both of the accounts and I couldn't remember what my password wasn't working. So then I was even more freaked out. But when you do that, you have to put in the last 6 digits of your credit card and you have to put in your social security number. And so what I think the scammer was trying to do is he asked for the 6 digits of my credit card and I gave it to him, but he didn't get any further because it wasn't a valid card because that card happened to be tied to Merrill Lynch. It wasn't on my Bank of America. only because he said your debit card, and the debit card is the one I always use for Merrill Lynch. He probably would ask me then for my social security number, which I would know not to give. But anyways, I just wanted you to know that this can easily happen. I think I'm pretty astute. I think I'm pretty savvy. And because they'd contacted me prior and I was just, oh my gosh, it's happening again. It must be another card. Always be wary with every single individual incident. And then the other thing is I went back and looked at my texts, and the text messages were different. The difference was with my Bank of America, the legit one, the wording was different and it came from like a 5-digit number. So they clearly knew my phone number when they were contacting me, and they used a 5-digit number in the text. And they had a photo icon, the Bank of America logo, which, any scammer can do, but that's was distinctly different than the other. And then when I looked at the one that was turned out to be the scammer, there were a couple things that were different. Number one, it was from a phone number. So it initiated from a weird phone number. And secondly, which I didn't even notice. And secondly, the very beginning of it, it said B of A, colon, and then the message, did you do this transaction, blah, blah, blah. And there was a space between the B of A and colon. And you always have to look for little minor errors in messages and emails, a misspelling, wrong grammar, mispunctuation. And there were things about that text when I looked at it more closely with this new awareness that was like, oh, yeah, that does look a little fishy. And so when they called me back and it was some random scammer, now when the Bank of America representative called me, he did end up calling me from a number, but the fact is the initial contact was not from a phone number. It was from a 5-digit SMS code. So that is what I want to share with you. A little bit of a long intro, but I wanted to share that with you because I wanted you to know we can all be scammed. And that was another thing that made up for my very shitty week. But now I have 2 fresh new cards. I have a lockdown, 2 bank accounts. So I feel like in a way, if I'm always looking for the positive, I'm actually happy it happened because I'm okay, everything's fine, and now I feel safer. And I also downloaded Norton 360, and it just protects you. I thought maybe they've gotten on my computer. I probably need to make sure I don't have any viruses on my computer. So now I feel like I've got my computer locked down and things are running to make sure that I'm safe. And because you never know what link you're going to click. My husband gets these jokes all the time in his email and he sends them to me. And I'm like, I'm not clicking on that. Even if it's from somebody they could have been hacked. You just don't know. That's the world we live in, unfortunately. And people are trying to make a buck not the legitimate ways, unfortunately. It's hard. It's hard to make a living these days. And so some of these people, they're getting it how they can get it. Doesn't make it right, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And we can all be victims. So, what I'm going to do now is going to turn you over to the actual episode, and it's going to be really short because I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what the challenge is and what you'll learn, and then what the link is. And it's not something I've created, it's something from AARP. And I thought, oh my gosh, there's so much value in this stuff, and I need to share it when I see it, and I think it's valuable. So, let's get to it now. Welcome to another episode of Living Your Sparked Second Half. And yes, I am brave to be on camera today. So if you like to watch me on YouTube, this is me feeling a lot better. All right. So I'm going to share this 7-day smartphone email challenge. And I loved it because, well, I'm still going through it actually. I think I'm on day 5, but it perked my interest and it's worth sharing. So I'm going to go over the things that it basically covers. And some days you might be, this didn't really help me. But some days you might be like, oh, that sounds good. So on day one, there's some app recommendations. So there's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven different apps they recommend. And, just fun things, maybe make your life easier. One of them is Insight Timer. That's a really good free meditation app. But, anyways, you might not know about them. And so the first day, super valuable right off the bat. The second day is about how to lock down your phone and be safer and more secure, which I think we all could do a better job of. The third day is how to take gorgeous photos. And it even has a link to some free training that you can learn about your phone. I actually paid for an iPhone class and learned, oh my gosh, there is so much that your phone can do, so much more than a camera I ever owned. It's like a DSLR or whatever those cameras are called. It is pretty incredible. I mean, you can't do as much without those telephoto lens attachments, obviously, but it can do so, so much more than the phones of our younger days, or not phones, the cameras of our younger days. So you want to check that out, definitely. Day 4 is really talking about data storage. And, data storage is very complicated. It's very easy to fill up your data. And then you get this email that says, oh, you're going to run out of storage. You need to buy more. And so this gives you a little high level, very high level about how to save money when it comes to data storage. And again, the emails are very short and succinct, but there are links that take you to more detail that you can learn more about that topic or subject. And then today's, it was great. And this is one of the reasons I signed up for it, because it was bring your text to life with GIFs, emojis, and memojis. I didn't even know there was such thing as memojis. So if you like those little avatar thingies, you can learn about them and you can learn how to create them and you can start using them in your emails, in your messages. They're fun. I see a lot of people using them now. So that's day 5. I don't know what's in day 6 and day 7. You're going to have to find out yourself if you sign up. But the way you sign up is very simple. I'm not even going to give you a link, actually. Google 7-day smartphone challenge. That's the easiest thing to do. Just do a Google search on 7-day smartphone challenge. I did it, and it'll take you right to the link that you need to and sign you up. So that's what I got for you this week. A little different. I'll be having some guests. I have like 3 interviews lined up coming that I'm excited about, but I've been sick, haven't been able to interview anybody. So bear with me, and I hope this episode is particularly helpful and fun for you. So until next time, love ya. Have a great, non-shitty week. I know this coming week is going to be so much better because I no longer will have the flu. So that'll be one reason of many, I'm sure, that'll be better. So ta-ta.